Can you rewind it? Right there.
Welcome to the function.
Now we ready to roll.
Inside the ManCave with Johnny Compian.
Game over, bitches.
Inside the ManCave podcast show. Follow me at Johnny Compian on Twitter. Like and subscribe to my channel Inside the ManCave podcast show. And follow me on Facebook Meta. Okay, I appreciate everybody that's subscribed to my channel. And as a sub, I try to do a service to you to inform you when there's important news that needs to come out to the community, right? And I ran across this article today, and I felt that I needed to get this out because April is upon us. And it's very important for me to inform you. And if you want this news as well, and you're not a sub, subscribe to the channel, and I will give you a PSA just like I will to my subs right now. And I saw this headline. It says San Antonio has the highest STD rates of Texas' biggest cities. Okay. Shocking? Yeah. But once again, San Antonio shines. We win. We're best in tacos, right? Over Austin, because Austin thinks they have the best breakfast tacos or tacos, period. And now we're winning in something. Because we did beat out Austin and Dallas and Houston and El Paso for the highest STD rates. Yay, we win, right? How do you guys feel? It's crazy because on a serious note, it's sad to hear about this but there's other states all over the country that are dealing with this as well. We're just talking about Texas. When you read it, it talks about people not having health insurance and not getting the health care they need. And that's why these numbers are up. It's crazy because, it's funny when you read the headline to some of us, but on a serious note, it's really a problem. Because those numbers are pretty high. And, I shook my head because I'm like, wow, okay. So that means everybody in this city is kind of intertwining with each other at some point where this is going around. Everybody is kind of sleeping with everybody. So, you look at your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your friend or your wife, whoever you're with, and you kind of just look, you read this headline, you kind of look over and you're like, do we need to get checked? Because, dude, you just never know, right? So everybody is sleeping with each other and passing this stuff around. Gonorrhea, syphilis. Oh, man. I mean, it's crazy to read this. I'm laughing. Yes, I'm laughing, but I'm also kind of like, I'm kind of cringing a little bit. Because this is not funny. It's not funny because, in San Antonio, it's saying that number is, the percentages are pretty high here in the Alamo City. That's disturbing. And it does make you question, hey, girlfriend, wife, whatever you're doing in your life, you're married or you're dating or you kind of just look over and you're like, okay, hold on a minute. And then you find out and you're like, oh crap. It's not fun. So, and the crazy thing is, on another note, we're rolling into April here, which is a huge party month for us in San Antonio because it's fiesta time. And it made me kind of think again. I'm like, oh no, we can actually break some records because people are, consuming a lot of alcohol and listening to music and just hanging out, partying and doing whatever people do during fiesta. And apparently everybody's getting frisky with each other. Man, wow, okay. I need to go on the streets and go get some of this video and go live stream, right? I need to go stream. Now I got a new camera that I'm going to start using. So maybe I'll go out on the streets and kind of see this firsthand. No, you know what? No. Now I'm kind of don't want to touch. Yeah, you don't want to touch any. Those porta potties in fiesta. No. Man, you might want to wear a mask and gloves. And the people making your. Oh no. I'm sorry. Yeah, just seeing this is it's grossing me out a little bit. So I'm glad you subscribe because I can bring stories like this for you and help you out as a citizen of this city of San Antonio. I'm doing my duty to help you out, to inform you, to make sure to use protection, whatever you're doing and whoever you're, Oh, and it was weird because today I stopped to get some tea at this place that I won't name. It's a little chain. So I'm waiting for, here we go, happy hour at the tea place. And so I'm waiting because at 2 o'clock you get the drinks half price. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll because it's kind of pricey. I'm not complaining about them. I'm like, hey, I can get a drink half price, and the tea is really good. So anyway, I'm sitting there right in the front, and bear with me. You know, I always go off on a tangent, and then I kind of go left field sometimes, but you got to stick with me, okay? Follow me at Johnny Compian on Twitter, because I'll be posting a bunch of links and stuff from this podcast. But anyway, back to this story. So I'm sitting there, and I'm messing with this new camera that I got. So I'm just waiting till 2 o'clock, a few minutes, and this truck pulls up, and some young lady steps out. Then, you know, they're talking. I'm kind of minding my own business, but I'm kind of looking to my left. And I can see them kind of, he's inside the car, or she, I don't know. I couldn't really see the person inside. So she's got her back towards me, and she's talking to the person behind the wheel. But she's out of the truck. And they talk, and she kind of looks back, and, you know, and then walks into this place, this establishment. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Not even like 5 minutes later, she comes out, and then some other car pulls up, and it was a guy, and he like gets out and hugs her, and then they get in the car and they leave. Like, whoa, man, what? And then I see this article, and I'm like, okay, people are just, you know, having sex and, you know, just kind of just doing whatever they want. And I put 2 and 2 together, and I just thought about this. I'm like, whoa, maybe there was a little hookup there. Yeah, so please pass on the news to everybody around you. Wash your hands, wash whatever, you know, go get help. Don't spread it around, because during Fiesta, it's going to be going down, man. I guarantee you. Those numbers will go up. We're winning in that department. But we're kind of just like not being very healthy about it. And so there's a lot of other cities. So, yeah, it is a bad look, but I've said it before. San Antonio, we're dirty, man. We're dirty.
Oh God.
That's just the bottom line.
I need a little bit more dose of nasty.
Now I get these little quotes in my head of random things that pop up, and I can hear pop.
I want some nasty.
Wow, it all makes sense to me now.
Oh yeah, right there. Oh.
So I told you, I told you guys that it was leading to something. So yeah, we all want nasty.
Yes.
Happy Fiesta. I was strolling social media like I always do on the weekend. And normally I'm between Twitter, which you can follow me at Johnny Compian, and on IG, and on Facebook. And I always read comments, you know, when bands are always talking about things, because I kind of like to keep up with stuff. I enjoy the music scene. I enjoy what, you know, these musicians do for us. They put a lot of hard work in, and to keep us, you know, from going crazy sometimes. Because music, I always tell you guys, music is so powerful. It sets a tone for me a lot of times in my life. And if I'm feeling down and just not like myself, I can put on a song and it will take me somewhere or to a special time or place. And it's just medicine for me personally.
It's a Zen thing.
I always talk about that.
One-stop shop
And
for mind, body, and soul.
that's why my point is I love music. I have since I was really young.
Let's rock this mother.
And so I've followed bands growing up. I listened to all different types of music. I mean, you would be surprised of some of the music that I listened to. I'm all over the map. And I like to do that. One day I'm going to put a playlist out because I was asked for my playlist one time. I'm like, you know, this person was like, hey, man, I like what you play on the radio for rejoiners, or where can we get this playlist? And I didn't have anything at the time. But, you know, I just love music so much that, you know, to me, I put that into my work that I did for years to emphasize certain points with music. Music, like I said, music is so powerful, and it sets a tone for me in a lot of ways. So, I really, really get into, you know, some of the music that comes out, new music. And I also like, you know, my era, which was like in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, you know, and back then too, I was all over the map. Because I grew up like listening to Motorhead and Rose Tattoo, the Ramones, Metal Church, Venom. I mean, it's so many different genres of music. And so I really, you know, I take passion when I hear people talk and have debates and talk about certain topics about music, right? Because we don't like change. None of us like change. You got to admit it. None of us like change. And if you're saying you don't, you're lying to yourself. You just don't admit it. You want to just move along and just be like, no, I don't care. I'm going to go against the grain. And I get it, whatever. But you want to change with the time, right? We can't stay in stagnant water because, you know, that's not the way. We want variety. I like variety in my life. I do. I'm sure you do as well. You got to change things up. I know. I understand all that concept on how that works. So I've been a fan of Queensryche for years. I've seen Queensryche so many times. From the beginning until the end of the Jeff Tate era with Queensryche. You know, the original lineup that consisted of Michael Wilton, Chris DeGarmo, Scott Rockenfield, and Eddie Jackson, and Jeff Tate, who was fired in 2012 from the band and replaced with Todd LaTorre, who is the current singer now. And I've supported Queensryche from day one, like I've said. I bought the cassettes. I bought it on vinyl. Just everything. Always supported the band. Always went the extra mile to get to one or two shows during a tour with this original lineup. and a few times I was able to hang out and always be around where the band was. Either I had friends that could get me access, or I was working in media and I was able to go and just kind of do a review or hang out during the show. So I've been around Jeff Tate. I've been around Michael Wilton, Eddie Jackson. It was just cool because I grew up listening to that band. When I first heard the first EP, I was just blown away. I was blown away from, it just blew me away from anything that I was listening to at the time. Right? Because you had AC/DC and you had Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Judas Priest, Deep Purple, Metallica. I mean, all these bands, right? But this was different. To me, I was just like, man, I was really just, I enjoyed the rhythm, the music. Just a huge fan. And you can see behind me in the bottom screen, there's the vinyl there. So like I said, I up to this day, I still support everything that name Queensryche puts out. In the beginning, it was hard for me as a fan to accept that the lead singer of that band wasn't at the helm anymore. And I thought, you know what? You think of the Black Crowes, you think of different bands that change up. You know, like I said, people hate change. I hated it. I wasn't all about, I'm one of those people. I was like, I'm not all about this. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to hold judgment and just listen. Because I understand that things sometimes happen, and especially with musicians. So shit happens, right? And things happen. I don't know exactly, and I really don't care because that's like not my thing. But the band went its own way. So you had Michael Wilton, Eddie Jackson, Scott Rockenfield, right? DeGarmo was gone and Tate was gone. And they had put some good pieces in there, but there was no Chris DeGarmo. When that happened, I remember seeing him in the Here and Now Frontier. I think that was the last tour that he did with them. I saw him in San Antonio and Virginia Beach. My brother and I saw him. It was cool. And that was the last time that I had seen DeGarmo. Publicly, I didn't see him. I saw him, last year or the year before? When there was a tribute for Seattle. And he was on there with Chris Cornell's daughter. That was pretty cool. It was cool to see DeGarmo playing guitar. And he's contributed. He contributed it to the Tribe album. So yeah, he had his hands in there that we didn't know about. I know I didn't know. But still, no matter what, I always supported the band. Always, always. Anytime I hear any kind of Queensryche, up to this day, I enjoy it. Rage for Order did a lot for me. I love Rage for Order. I love The Warning. Empire, obviously, and Mindcrime and Promised Land. All those were, Mindcrime was just masterpiece to me when I first heard that. But that was before social media, right? There was no way that I could go on social media and be like, hey, Jeff Tate, what did you say in this part in this song? Hey Jeff, what happened here between you and the band? Back in the day, we couldn't even dream of getting near him. Maybe you would try when they were on the radio doing an interview with the local radio host. Maybe you can call in and try to get a question in if they had the lines open or whatever. That was the only way we could try to get access. Now, shit, you can tweet at anybody and ask your questions and make your comments. And sometimes they'll respond. And that's what happened over the weekend. That happened over the weekend. With Todd LaTorre, the lead singer, now the current lead singer of Queensryche. He kind of he fired back at me when I talked. I had made I read this guy's comment towards LaTorre, and he answered, because I think the guy said he had just seen them. He says, I just saw you guys, and kind of talked about the set list, I think. So don't quote me on it. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But anyway, and then LaTorre comes back and the guy had said, it would have been cool to Take Hold of the Flame or something like that. And LaTorre comes back and he's like, hey, he talked about the set list that they're trying to do more of the new stuff and trying to incorporate that, because they played the hell out of those songs that, like they played them to death, and he, kind of basically saying they didn't want to play them anymore. Like, it's not important anymore. That's the way I took it. So the first thing that went off in my head, I'm like, dude, because I've read plenty of comments, and I follow LaTorre on Twitter and on Facebook. So he's very vocal and active on social media. And so it's not so much Michael Wilton, nor you don't see Eddie Jackson on social media. He's not on Twitter, nowhere. The guy he's very private. So I'd understand if, people if you got a comment about something and you feel strong about something, that's why we have these platforms, right? That's why we have Twitter and Discord and Reddit and just all these other, threads that we can go and kind of vent a little bit or talk about something, have dialogue, right? So anyway, I kind of put out there a comment towards LaTorre, and I told him that I understood his position, but I said, you talk about playing those songs to death. I said, remember the name Queensryche. It's the reason why you're in that lead position. You're in an iconic band. Or, yeah, let me rephrase that. You're in almost a skeleton version of Queensryche, because you've only got two members. You got Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson. You got Scott Rockenfield's not coming back. I don't think so. The Garmo's not coming back. Tate's not coming back. That's what you have right now. Mike Stone is back in Queensryche, touring with them. After Parker Lundgren had moved on, he kind of, moved on from playing with Queensryche and has his own business right now. He's got a cool business. Follow Parker Lundgren on IG. He's got some cool stuff on there. He sells guitars and he buys guitars. So he's got legendary axes. I think he calls it the Axes of Evil or something. It's really cool. So follow Parker the former guitar player of Queensryche. Really good. I really enjoyed Parker. He's not Chris DeGarmo. So anyway, I came out there and I kind of went at Latore and I made a bunch of comments. And I talked about how night after night, you know, people come out and they want to hear the hits. They don't want to hear everything that's new to them. And some people are going to disagree with me there because I got attacked on social media, on Facebook, about that. You know, they were saying I was complaining and they were calling me Johnny Compian, and that's cool. I get it. You know why? Because you're on Latore's thread and he's reading these comments, obviously, because he's like Wolfgang Van Halen. You say something and he's in attack mode. He's going to come at, he's going to rip you to shreds. But Latore was actually fair to me. He wasn't upset, I don't think. And this is what he wrote back at me. This is what he wrote back on that thread to me. He says, so I should just be quiet is what you're saying. As I stated for 11 years now, I love the classics. But when someone says we didn't do the fans justice, essentially because we didn't perform more hits, sorry, but that is fair play for me to comment. And that's cool. He came out and says, dude, you know what? You sparked a little nerve there, and I'm going to come back. He's like, okay, the fact is that, he says, for a fact, we've played those songs to no end, i.e. to death, LOL. It's a figure of speech. People want to hear more newer material. As musicians, so do we. He's like, I know all about skin in the game. Have a great weekend and a thumbs up. And that's what I said. It's like, I don't know. I was just writing stuff and I have purchased every single vinyl that the current lineup for Queensryche, with the skeleton version of Queensryche. And I'll get, you know, a vinyl or a shirt or something online. I mean, I don't mind. But that was cool. I appreciated him coming back and kind of setting it straight, saying, hey, look, I read what you're saying. I disagree. And so do a lot of other people. And sure enough, they came at me and they were saying that I wasn't a fan and that just stick to listening to Jeff Tate. So everybody just like, there was, I don't know, it was like 60-40. And you know, I made some friends out of it because it was a popular thread that went on and on and on, and people kept coming at me and attacking me. And I welcomed it. It's like, dude, you know what? This is why we do this, right? And you're going to get attacked. There's no way you're going to make comments like the ones I made towards Todd Latore and Queensryche. But I kind of said, I'm like, dude, I don't see Michael Wilton, a founder of Queensryche, Eddie Jackson, who won't even look at social media. He could care less what I'm saying about Queensryche or anything. He would rather be talking about sports, and college football or basketball or NFL football than kind of worrying about some guy who has 74 subscribers on YouTube. Mr. Nobody, me. That's cool that I fired you up, the fan base. And it's funny because there was some comments and they're saying, you know, kind of questioning, you know, my fandom for this band. And kind of were like, dude, go away. Like, just go away. This is not right. because the original post was posted on Lattori's Facebook page, and he had posted a single that he put out and a song that he wrote for his father, who he just recently lost. And people were upset about that as well, saying, hey, dude, this is not the place for you to go off and start. But they don't understand that I didn't start the thread, but I got all the hate. And I welcome it. I'm cool. I'm like, hey, all right, let's bring it on. And I invited Lattori on this podcast, and he didn't oblige, and that's fine. That's cool. So at some point, I will either meet him or be around him at some point, and I'll introduce myself, and I'll try to get it on video and just thank him like, hey, dude, you know what? It's just like these players, these NFL players, you got to ask the tough questions sometimes. But I think he really deep down doesn't like Jeff. And so do a lot of the fan base. They kind of lost. They're like, oh, he can't do this and that. And it was bad hearing, oh, he can't sing anymore. But Jeff worked on his craft. He's man, if you've seen him lately, he's got a great band behind him. All young cats. And they jam. They fucking play. I respect Jeff Tate. Whatever he did, I don't care about. But I still support Jeff. He is Queensryche. When you turn on the radio station do people even listen to radio anymore? But yeah, there was a thing called radio that we all used to listen to listen to new music. But now we just get it on our phones, on YouTube or whatever. Anyway, back in the day or now, when you turn on the radio and they play a Queensryche song, Another Rainy Night Without You, Empire. What else have I heard out there? Just all the hits. Silent Lucidity, Take Hold of the Flame, on and on and on. Yeah, you're not going to get any of the new stuff. That will not get you any airplay. So this Queensryche fan, because obviously he doesn't like people that don't like Queensryche, the original. He kind of bailed out and said, I'm going with this version and screw the other version. Which I got a problem with. Like, come on. How could you say I'm a traitor and this and that when, dude, I started from the beginning and I'm still here when there's Skeleton. This band is like a shell of itself. It's not the same thing. It doesn't sound the same. I question a lot of things in that band. The last 2 times they were in San Antonio, I didn't go. And I was supposed to go because one of my friends plays for Fates Warning, where he played with Fates Warning, and he was a drummer for Fates Warning. And I was supposed to go that night, but I was feeling under the weather and I didn't go. But I missed that. Yeah, and they're coming again, I think, to San Antonio. I'm not going to go. I've seen that before. And they normally play in little clubs, which, I don't know. I'll listen to the vinyls. I'll put out some songs from, the last couple albums they released. Man, they got some of Hello singles on there. And videos. They put out a lot of videos. That's cool. But it's just not the same. I mean, it's not the same to me. I'm going to say this very lightly. If you don't, excuse me, okay? If you don't like people saying, the fans who are still supporting this band and spending money and supporting these shows that they do, we got to be able to figure out a way to, because I feel like I'm treading on water here, because if I say the wrong thing, I'm going to get blasted again. I'm sure I'm going to get blasted for this video because I'm going to put it on that thread. And hopefully Todd will listen to it and be like, oh, this guy's full of shit. And the fans will come at me and just kind of, but you know what? It's my opinion at the end of the day. It's my opinion. It's my podcast show. It's not because I'm not a fan and I'm hating on these guys. It's just not my cup of tea anymore. I can live without it. If I was to go back in that wall back there behind me where you see all that vinyl, and I was going to put a vinyl on right now, I would either pick the first one because I was talking about it earlier, or Rage for Order. My brother got me that. It's signed. I had a different version of it that I had won when they came to San Antonio and played the Sunken Gardens. So I won the prize. I won tickets to the show, a signed vinyl, which was a limited edition version that I wish I still had. And they all signed it to me and hung out with all the guys in the parking lot outside of the station. And when I picked up my gear, took like a group picture. I wish I knew where that picture was, because I had my cousins with me and my friends, my best friend. It was like a group picture. Yeah, we got in the station wagon and cruised down, and I won the prize. Got to hang out with the band. It's so cool that I can talk about these memories and talk about my opinions. And hopefully you agree or disagree. Either way, it's cool. I appreciate your time. Till next time, peace. At Johnny Compian on Twitter. And you can also support the podcast show on anchor.fm/Johnny5150.